Good morning. Let's talk about psychedelics. See, I have so many new things that has come to my mind after I started to talk to new people, talk to people who's using these medicines differently. And now, yesterday, 3 days ago actually, a post came into the group, and I was really, contemplating, should I allow this post, because it was very much about Allah, it was about the Quran, it was about a lot of things within the Muslim religion. And I was like, okay, this group is not really about that. This group is really not about religion at all. But then it's teetered into DMT and psychedelics and then most importantly, shrooms. So I allowed it, and of course there was a lot of reactions because people have different ways of seeing the world, and some people are scared of different religions and different things that is not really in their life and all that stuff. I've been there, so I know how that feels. But I allowed it, and then the guy started to talk. Now he's in a mental asylum, not a mental asylum, but he was in a mental health hospital because of his psychedelic experience. I now know two people who are in that situation. Two with a different set of events, but still very much the same. Very much rooted in religion. I say that with a twinge in my eye. There is something called Christ consciousness in psychedelics. It's a very weird kind of thing to explain, and I'm not sure if I'm, the right person to try to explain it, but here's what I see. I've always seen Jesus as kind of a good coach. That's that was my whole perspective on that. That if he was a dude 2,000 years ago, he's probably a good coach because, he's still being talked about. And because of that, there was something special about him. Like, we have all these stories and this history around psychedelics and how that ties into religion. And, the mind starts to wonder. Did he do shrooms? Or whatever. But Christ consciousness is not directly linked to Jesus. Christ consciousness is not a religious thing. Although it might sound like it. I mean, Christ consciousness, it sounds like a religious thing. And because of that, I think it's important to realize that it's a state of awareness. It is when you see yourself as the true power that you are. Now, when you feel, because that's the key here, when you feel the power, some people, if they don't have the backing, the knowledge, the understanding of whatever they are feeling beforehand, they might get overwhelmed and think that they are now Jesus, reincarnated, or Muhammad, or whatever. They might feel like something is so profoundly shifted in them that now, holy shit, I am a deity, that kind of thing. Because in all honesty, you feel like a god. You feel like you are it. You are the universe. You are part of everything. Unity, the conscious field. You are literally just the universe, seeing the universe through itself. It's all of those things. Christ consciousness is such an elevated state of awareness compared to where we mostly find ourselves in life, that it has a chance to kind of tip you completely over if you don't have the understanding of it beforehand. So, that's a little bit about Christ consciousness. I'm not going to go a lot into that, but it's literally just a state of awareness, a perspective, a paradigm of the world, a paradigm of the reality. And you're literally shifting realities when you're getting into it, because now, all of a sudden, there are no limits. Death is a concept that we have been taught to be horrible, with plagues, with the Grim Reaper, with all of those horrible depictions and the skeletons and all those things, right? But once you get to that awareness, death kind of loses its threat. It's like, maybe it's just a new birth. Who knows? It gets interesting, almost. It's like you're looking forward to something that you can learn from. It's not like you want to die, because there's so much fun to do in this life. But there is something to be learned when you get there. So, that's a little bit about Christ consciousness. And then we have dosing. Dosing is something that always comes up, especially during the month of Shroomtember, and that really doesn't work in English, but, September, October, even sometimes in August. Like, we have the season. lots of people start to ask about doses around this season. And depending on who you are, depending on your awareness, depending on your mindset, depending on your experience, depending on your history and your insights and everything that goes on in your life, depending on how you do it, depending on who you do it with, depending on the energetic level, depending on what you ate, depending on what you slept, depending on what you drink, depending on what you take during it depends on a lot of variables, right? So doses is a very individual thing. You have to figure out who you are in this setting. That's why we always say start very low and then see how do you react as you go up. With that being said, though, some people might take half a gram, even quarter of a gram, even less than that, and they won't feel an effect. Other people might take 20 grams of dried 𝐓𝐴 and go out running. Now that just blew my mind straight off the hinges, because he said that he took this massive amount of shrooms. He then leaned over and took on his running shoes, and as he was starting to feel the effect of the medicine, he ran. He literally started running. Let me actually do this. For some reason, I like to have it like that. He started running, and he ran for 30 miles. Now, I thought that 30 miles was like 1 mile in Norway, because of the whole conversion system and all that stuff, the metric to the imperial. I'm not sure what the other one is, but the thing is, I thought it was quite a lot less than what it actually was, because I tried this several times. Like, I wrote 30 English miles to kilometers, and it said 48 kilometers. That is literally almost 5 miles. 5. That's a lot. That is like driving for 20 minutes. That is a long distance. But what he said is that when he came to his destination, when he stopped running, basically, because he could have run more, he said, then he realized that despite the fact that he was overweight, not even overweight, like out of shape, he could have started to run even more, like without problem. And as he ran, he was processing and implementing new ideas and insights based on the things that he had to work on. So let's say that psychedelics is magical for you to see your trauma. It gives you a pointing arrow and a compass to what you have to work on. It's not a magical pill. Many people will think that you just take a trip and you'll fix everything. No, fuck that. That is a very lazy way to see it. You're going to see what you have to work on. And when you do that, and if you take that seriously, you're going to be able to work on that more efficiently, because now you know exactly what to work on. The thing is, sometimes you can do this during the trip, which means that during the day afterwards, the clarity day, you will have a lot more clarity and insights into what you have to work on, and maybe you even worked on it. So you're basically just accepting whatever you did in the day after. What he said, though, and this blew my mind, he said that he was processing these things real time, and in psychedelic terms, real time might actually be a little bit ahead of real time. Like you're doing things ahead of where you are currently at, because time is kind of irrelevant. And when you're doing that, it's a weird. For those who've had the experience, no explanation is necessary. For those who have not, none is possible. Let's just leave it at that. Thing is, he was doing things at such a rapid pace that he said that it was like having 1,000 trips. Or that is what I got from it. I don't think he said that specifically, but we often say that a psychedelic trip is like having 1,000 to 10,000 therapeutic sessions with a psychologist or a therapist. It's a pretty hefty thing. That is a pretty powerful statement, because it is so transformational. You're not talking to someone for them to take notes and giving you some pills. You're not talking to someone for them to make sense of things. You are seeing your things and then getting the sense of making it happen, to like making it able to be dealt with in yourself, which is a lot more effective, because you're going to accept your path. You're going to accept your past, rather. You're going to see where you've been. Your trauma is all of a sudden the thing that got you to where you are. You're going to be a way more powerful being afterwards, because you're going to see that you are more than you thought, right? So if one trip, let's just make a simple math. If one trip is 10,000 therapeutic hours, he said that it was like 1,000 trips. That's a lot. Not going to do the math. Is it 10 million? Is it 10 million? Not sure. It's a lot. that means that it holds so much more potential, so much more applicational usage potential compared to what I thought it was before, because I thought that, well, you know, some people use it for recreation, some people use it for partying, some people use it just to escape, some people use it for spirituality, some people use it for personal development. There's a lot of ways you can use this. Some people just use it to microdose, where you don't really feel the trip, but you feel the effect in terms of your focus and your empathy and all these things. But I was always doing it either alone, either in the forest if I could, or simply sitting or lying down on the couch with a soundscape playing. Never really occurred to me that I could run, ever. And because you can run, then of course you can do other things. So that kind of changes the entire perspective of what you can use it for, because that means that the plant medicine literally just focuses your brain. Whatever you're doing, it will focus on that thing. Now, I think that it depends, because running is a very natural human thing to do. Sitting in front of a computer and doing things might not be the same. Although psychedelics or plant medicine have been helping in coding and programming and understanding programmatic language, you know, understanding the computer better. But I think that sitting with the computer, seeing that you can feel and sense energy levels and all that stuff, the frequencies, and seeing the radiation coming from these screens, that tends to be overwhelming. So I'm not sure if that is a good thing. But diving, meditating, running, probably climbing, doing stuff in the woods, being one with the forest, all these things, painting, being creative, who knows about archery or axe throwing, all of these things, you know, it kind of opens the entire spectrum for what you can try to do with this thing. What is it that you want to really learn? What do you want to get better at? Let's try acrobatics, right? I also think that you should have someone sensible along with you, so that you have a strong, safe set and setting. And I do not recommend you try it at all if you don't know anything about what you're going to get into. You should meditate. You should kind of ease yourself into it to get an understanding of what this is before you even start thinking about doing it. Because I've learned a lot. When you see people go through a psychosis, I'm saying psychosis, and then being tossed into a mental health ward, well, that tends to shift things up a little bit, because I can speak to these people. That's the most interesting thing. A person who've had the experience can communicate with other people who've had a psychotic break from a drug-induced psychosis. Right? That means that you are talking on the level that they understand because you've been where they are. You understand that because you have processed it and you got out the other way, the other side of it. But if you don't know anything about it, if you are a general health worker who has a propaganda affected view on these things, might not be very helpful for you to talk to that person, because you are literally on two different dimensions. And I've seen that. That's why I'm saying it. And the fact that they are getting locked up and being shot up with benzodiazepam in their ass, well, you know, I don't see that as a medicine. I think that is just further increasing the problem that we're having because of a lack of awareness and ignorance and often arrogance in the field of psychedelic therapy. But if the people who had a drug-induced psychosis knew about Christ consciousness, knew about neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, and knew about how their brains and feelings and their emotions and maybe some quantum physics, throw that in the mix, because then they would understand the energetic composition, the energetic framework to work within. And they would be able to see that, holy shit, okay, if I knew this and I can connect through this, then when I'm connected, I will experience this. And then when I am coming back out, I should do this, you know, relax and reflect, integrate, all these things. But if they don't, if you're literally just tossing this awareness at people without the understanding, I think a horrible effect could happen. In the fact that they think they're God. They think they're Christ re-erected. And I think there's a lot of people like that. You know, come to think of it, that is very often the thing that we hear. People who think they're God. People who see themselves as deities. Now, I see myself as a deity almost, but I see you as a deity as well. Because you are at the same energetic level at the same foundational piece of you. You are the same as me. We are all the same. You know, zoom into you 1 billion times, you're going to see a quantum fluctuating in a vacuum on a Planck scale. I said that too fast, didn't I? But the thing is, we're energy. And when you're energy, and if you are the universe viewing yourself through yourself, everything becomes limitless. And then, you know, if you have some understanding within meditation and astral projection and all these things, and if you know about energy, just in terms of astrology, maybe even astrology, I'm not sure, I haven't really got into that, but quantum physics at least, and which is not as, you know, as advanced as a lot of people will say it is. It's just they have terminology for things that is not applicable anywhere else in our nature. But knowing about energy, frequencies, how we are mostly water, and how we are affected by certain things, how our thoughts interact with our actions and our emotions, and how to control your thoughts, and all these things. Having that understanding during a trip will allow you to navigate it better and integrate it a lot more efficiently after you're done the trip, in my humble opinion. I'm not sure. I just had to say that because right now we have this entire, like, this discussion going on, almost a fight because of how other people see psychedelics and dosages and all these things. That is always a theme. Like, so many people have questions about things, and so many other people come from a place of absolute truth. Like, they will proclaim what is the truth. They will say that it is like this and it is like that. No, your brain is unique. Your brain is completely unique, which means that you have to experiment. You have to do the work, and you have to get ready, more or less. If you're doing anything in life, you should be ready, right? Don't take anyone's truth for the truth. The way I see it, the best way is to be humble, be completely open-minded, with all the questions in the world, and just know that, I mean, if nature does it, maybe I should try it as well. Maybe try, right? 2 things. You should always know where you stand. Don't listen to other people. Take everything with a grain of salt. Don't listen to anything I've said in this video. Everything could be fake. I could be a fake. Don't let yourself be affected by what other people think. You might have questions. The best way to get those questions answered is to read up from credible authorities. I don't like saying authorities in that sentence, in that context. Credible sources, and then just see what you can learn by testing and experimenting and reading and understanding yourself. Because it's up to you in the end. Almost like I heard like this mystical theme, this mystical tune as I said that. But with that being said, have a fantastic day. Love your face and take care of your freaking family. I will see you in the next one. And if you have any questions about psychedelics or anything, I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I have tried a lot of things and I've learned a lot of things from talking to other people who've done experiments themselves. So I think I have some stuff that could give you clarity. But at the end of the day, you are the one that needs to do your journey. You are the one that, and I'm not talking about a psychedelic journey, just to make that completely 100% certain or clear. Your journey inside of you, your trauma, your challenges, all the things that you have to do in order to find your own authentic truth and balance. That is up to you. Plant medicine is a great tool in that, but do not, under any circumstance, think that the plant medicine is a magic pill. It is, in some cases, tools to help you see things clearer, but it is not the one true end-all, be-all solution to all world problems and yourself and everything. But it is really one heck of a ride, because you're going to see that you don't understand a lot, which is cool. There, I have rambled enough. Have a fantastic day. Love your face.